When you run a projection in scenarios, the centerpiece of your dashboard is this, the wealth projection chart. It shows how your total wealth might evolve from today through to retirement and beyond. But unlike a simple straight-line forecast, this chart is powered by a Monte Carlo simulation. 1,000 different versions of your financial future, all running at once. Let me show you how to read it. Before we get into the chart itself, notice this card up here. Plan Confidence. This is your headline number. It tells you what percentage of those 1,000 simulations sustained your spending all the way through. So if you see 93.2%, that means in 932 out of 1,000 simulated futures, your money lasted. In the remaining 68, adjustments would likely have been needed, maybe spending a bit less or retiring a little later. Generally, anything above 85% is high confidence. Between 60% and 85% means elevated risk. Below 60%, you'll want to revisit your plan as it will likely need adjustments. Now let's look at the chart itself. By default, you're in the modern view. You can see the toggle here at the top. The solid purple line running through the middle, that's your median. The 50th percentile. Half of all simulations ended above this line, half below. Think of it as the most central outcome. Around the median, you'll see these shaded bands fanning out. This is why it's called a fan chart. They show the range of possible outcomes. Let me walk through each one. The darkest band in the middle, that's the likely range, covering the 25th to 75th percentile. In half of all simulations, your wealth falls somewhere within this band. The next band out, less likely, covers the 10th to 25th and 75th to 90th percentiles. Still plausible, but less common. The outermost band, rare, covers the 5th to 10th and 90th to 95th percentiles. These are tail-end scenarios, possible, but unlikely. Then, you've got two standalone lines. The green line at the top is your best case, the 95th percentile. Only 5% of simulations did better than this. The orange line at the bottom is your worst case, the 5th percentile. Only 5% did worse. And here's a nice touch. You can click any of these legend items to toggle them on or off. So if you just want to see the median against the worst case, you can strip everything else away. Now, let's switch over to the classic view. This shows the same data in a different style, stacked colored bands rather than probability groupings. You've got 5 lines, the median in the middle, good above at the 75th percentile, cautious below at the 25th, and then the green and red shading filling in between. If you click Show Detailed Bands, it expands to include the optimistic 90th percentile at the top and the adverse 10th percentile at the bottom. Some people find this view easier to read. It's the same simulation data, just presented differently. Use whichever you prefer. A few things to play with here. When you hover over any age, a tooltip pops up showing the exact values, your best case, median, and worst case figures, plus the likely range. You can switch between real and nominal values. Real, which is the default, shows everything in today's money, so you can intuitively understand the purchasing power. Nominal shows the actual pound figures you'd see on a statement before adjusting for inflation. And if you want to focus on a specific period, say the first 10 years of retirement, use these zoom controls to narrow in, pan left and right, and then reset when you're done. You'll also notice these dashed vertical lines on the chart. These mark your retirement age, so you can see exactly where the transition happens from accumulation to drawdown. If you're modeling as a couple, both retirement ages show up, each labeled with the person's name. And if you've added any life events, say downsizing a property at 70 or gifting money to your children, those appear as markers on the chart too, so you can see exactly how each event affects your trajectory. So, what's actually happening behind the scenes? Each of those 1,000 simulations generates a unique sequence of investment returns, inflation rates, and market conditions, year by year, from now until your chosen end age. They're not random guesses. The returns are drawn from realistic distributions for each asset class, and they're correlated. So, when equities fall, bonds don't magically surge. Each simulation also runs your full tax position, pension rules, ISA allowances, and your withdrawal strategy. The chart you're looking at is the combined result of all 1,000 of those futures. which is why you see a range of outcomes rather than a single line. That's your wealth projection chart. The key takeaway: don't fixate on any single line. The power of this tool is in the range. Look at where the bands are wide and where they narrow. Look at how your plan holds up in the worst case, not just the median. And if you want to dig deeper, hit the How to Read This Chart link below the chart for a full written guide.